The following is a show we're calling On the Horizon. It's a current events-based opinionated show punctuated by chill music. So what does that mean, current events-based opinionated show? Simply put, we start with the news and go from there. We talk about the impact current events have on us and further what that impact means to the progress of our country and our world. We don't pretend to be professional economists or political pundits or anything more than a few college students just trying to work out the problems in the world. It's all in the name of progress. The opinions are our own, not our station's, and it's all live. So, without further ado, this is On the Horizon. You are listening to On the Horizon. My name is Alex Popichak. I'm joined in the studio by Kris Chandler and Sam Morrison. And we're back after a music break. And it was awesome. I liked it.
Thank you, Alex. I tried my best.
And the Glorious song is just so powerful.
Yes.
I really love the build up there. So, okay, we have some overflow from the last block, things we didn't talk about. But the key one that has the most capital letters in it, which is serious. There is no science to any of what I'm doing here, but
there's a lot of science, man. You got cables running everywhere. You've got
it looks like
fancy-looking
science.
Headphones. You've got
it's all a front.
Exactly. We were talking about how minimalist the studio setup is right now, and we make it look impressive, but at the end of the day,
we make it work.
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, it works, and it's pretty fantastic. Things with the most amount of caps. A PSA: do not reset your phone to the 1970s.
Your iPhone.
Yes. Oh, your iPhone.
iPhone.
Sorry.
Yes, specifically iPhones.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this is a hoax that comes to us from 4chan. Some guy was messing around and found out that if you set your phone's clock to January 1st, 1970, it will lock the phone in a boot cycle, and you won't be able to turn on your phone ever. Unless you take
Is
it to
it
the Apple.
specifically that date?
It's specifically
No,
that date.
why is that though?
It's just something with the numbers with the iPhone. You set your
Nice.
phone to January 2nd, 1970, you're cool. You set it to December 31st, 1969, you're cool until tomorrow. So, yeah,
man.
so basically that will destroy your phone. Don't do
So
it.
don't do that.
And some
Don't believe in 4chan first.
well,
Okay.
hang on, here's why. Some evil clown photoshopped together a beautifully well done fake Apple webpage, which is unlock a secret retro theme
just
by doing this to
cruel.
your phone.
Gotcha.
And they posted it on like 9gag and Reddit and Facebook and Twitter and got it all out there. And people
just
are
ruined everyone's phones.
destroying their phones as a result of that. Yeah.
and the internet just eats it up because that's
the
what they
internet.
do.
It look and I encourage people who are listening to Google this fake image because it's really well put together. It looks like a real Apple webpage.
Oh yeah. I think you were showing it to me earlier. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks real. And, you know, monkey see, monkey do, and monkey owns an iPhone. So, yeah, people are destroying their iPhones. So if you are listening and you own an iPhone, please don't do this.
Just don't listen to people when it comes to stuff like that.
Except for us. We've tried this stuff.
We kind of know what we're talking about.
You can trust us. We pretend to be smart on radio.
Exactly. That should
Speaking
be the
of pretending to
tagline.
be smart, let's jump right into our next segment because
Yes.
I want to talk about this.
Okay, well, so our next segment, I was watching a TED Talk the other day. I don't know if you guys watch TED Talks often,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's a videos and site where you can find out about a lot of different things. So I was watching the talk, and the person that was presenting, he was seeing if people could see the difference between if a computer created art compared to if a human created art. So he asked the audience to identify two poems, like to read them first and then say which ones they liked the most. And then he asked them to differentiate between which one was created by a computer and which one was created by a human. And his question to the audience was, if you read a poem and it made you feel some type of way, it made you, you know, fall in love, or it made you remember some nice past thought, would you still feel that same way if you found out that it was created by a computer?
It's a very interesting thought there, and I guess that goes to the question of what is creativity and what does it all mean. But to actually talk about what the fact of the matter is, Sam, you had brought something up called the Turing test.
Yeah, the Turing test developed by Alan Turing. I hope we all seen The Imitation Game. But he proposed that if you are interacting with a computer or an artificial intelligence, and you can't tell that you're interacting with a computer or artificial intelligence, it's basically alive. So let's say you need three people for a Turing test. You need yourself, you need your human buddy, and you need your AI. And the setup would be, you have like a text chat, whatever, with your human buddy and your AI. And if you can't tell which is the human and which is the AI, it's alive. It's a sentient test. And that's it's not like 100% like real, obviously, like, cause the machine that wrote those poems isn't alive, but it's a step in the right direction.
It's a step, I wouldn't say in the right direction, but it's a step in a direction.
Right.
And like, if you think about it, some people have the argument that, well, the computer is made by a human. You know what I mean? A human is the one that puts in the algorithms
we made the algorithm
to figure all this out. Nonetheless, though, it was the computer itself which decided to put these words together.
And from a less creative standpoint, I made a joke to this about Alex off the air. We already have algorithms that write newspaper stories and stuff like that. You know, our jobs are getting phased out because it's cheaper to have an AI running in the basement that does all your work than a team of 50 reporters. So, you know, which is a really cool sentence when you think about it. But anyway, it's interesting because if you have machines doing our art and doing our work doing our everything.
Because for so long, that's been the untouchable thing. Mm-hmm. Art has been we can automate everything else, but can we automate art?
And they can, technically. But here's the thing, though. Is it technically art? Like, we have a friend in the studio today, and she mentioned that a sunset or a sunrise is art. And I brought up the point that, well, I don't think it's art until your perception of it makes it art. You know what I mean? It's something internal, your soul, something about you, which makes it something. So the viewer
has to interpret this in order for it to become art.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, would that apply to, like, if you read a poem that was created by a computer, if you looked at it and you thought it was good and you made some type of interpretation of it, would you classify that as art?
Yeah, and you know, everyone's got a different definition of art. I don't personally consider a sunrise a work of art. I do consider a very well-made tool, like really good craftsmanship, art, and a lot of people don't. And so, you know, that's blurring the lines again of what exactly is art. And then you enter into the equation of, well, a human didn't make that. That was synthesized. That was a machine using all sorts of cool things to go like, the most pleasing combination of words is X, and gives that to you, and you go, that is a pleasing combination of words.
Though you do make a good, I forget who it was, maybe it was a combination of the both of you that made the point that it was people who created the machine and algorithm that thus created the art. So is it, I mean, not necessarily creating it itself, or is it stringing together already existent ideas into something that should be quote unquote optimal to be, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, in the TED Talk, what he said in his computer program, what they did, they like fed the computer and the algorithms like different poems by different poets, and then through that told the computer to make a poem similar to like E.E. Cummings or, you know, someone like that. And the computer assimilated a poem similar to it. You know what I mean? Not it didn't mimic it, but just something similar to it. So that kind of goes along with what you just mentioned.
So I guess my question is it creativity with an asterisk, in that it has been synthesized based off of something that some person created, but the machine itself, in mimicking or imitating or however you want to put it, stringing it together creates the thing based off of the things. If that makes any sense. There's a lot of...
Need a little flowchart, please.
Yeah.
No, like, okay. Personally, I feel that it's not art. And that may be because I am a writer, and I feel that art should have some type of basis of
feeling.
And, you know, your soul should be behind it, some history or past event.
You don't know what those nuts and bolts have been through, sir.
True. Nonetheless, so going along with that, there is an argument, though, that technology itself is art. Like, I have a lot of friends who go to school for computer science and aerospace engineering and whatnot. And like, if I brought this conversation up with them, they would say that the technology itself is a work of art. And that I kind of have to agree with, because I feel in order to have innovation, you kind of need to look at it from different points of views. Yet at the same time, I don't think what comes out of that is art, if that makes sense.
Now, that's true in its current form. Now, let's flash forward 20, 25, 50 years when we do have sentient machines, computers that are...
Hopefully we don't. I'm like Will
Which is
Smith.
a whole different
like,
debate, but
have you guys seen I Am Legend?
Yes.
Like, I'm Will Smith and I Am Legend. You know?
But so, like, sentient machines, computers that are indistinguishable from human consciousnesses. Like, we're talking, like, the AIs from Halo. We're talking, like, the things from Ex Machina, like, living machines.
Yeah.
If one of those computers has an independent thought and paints a painting, is that painting art?
Well, I guess my first question, not to like nip it at the bud, but to look at it as, what makes it alive? What makes it sentient? Would it be something
What
that
classifies
is,
it?
Right.
what classifies it? And then from there, I guess you could determine that, but an independent thought created by a machine, would it really be independent because it is basically just a combination of previous thoughts? Right?
Yeah.
If that
With our current technology, it is. And my sort of like weird theoretical thing, I'm talking...
future.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking like we've come to that point where we can have Siri, for example, smart enough to not tell a joke she got off the internet, but actually think of her own joke. Yeah, and like, make some smart remark about the way you browse the internet or something like that. Yeah. Like, if your phone, for example, is intelligent enough to think for itself, and like you can have an argument with it, if it comes up with a piece of paper or a painting or a poem, is that art if it's from a synthetic being?
I'm not too sure. I mean, I guess just...
I want to see it first.
Right. But I guess just to play like devil's advocate, like I feel that technology and artificial intelligence kind of mirrors life in a sense.
Right.
Yet in that same mindset, like what you see in a mirror, like if you see yourself in a mirror, it's still you.
Right.
So like, is it still the same thing? Just to play devil's advocate. But.
No, yeah, I get that.
Well, yeah, I get that. I also agree that, to the earlier point, technology is an art form in and of itself. So it's almost asking, can art create art? And then, again, you go back to what is art? What is creativity? And I think in theory, yes, a computer creating art or creating poetry or whatever could technically be considered art, but you may have to bend the rules of the definition in that it's something created by XYZ, or if it is just created, period. Because if it's just created, period, then any quote-unquote art that is created by something sentient would then be art.
Well, yeah, and in a different context, also off the air, I mentioned there's a difference between cooking and making food.
True.
So is the robot making a poem, or is it writing a poem? Is it creating a poem?
I would say, and see, to that regard, I would say it is making it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just like in regards to someone just cooking food compared to someone actually being like a chef and creating food and dishes. You
like
know,
the guy at Subway isn't really a chef. He's just making food.
He's just making the food, you know. So I feel, in that regards, I would say it's spitting out a poem. It's empty words. That's how I feel to it. And I guess loosely, I would still call it a poem, but I wouldn't call it art. I wouldn't want to read that and have it change who I am. And it may just be because I'm biased towards technology. Like I hate technology with a passion.
Do you like people more, or
you know,
that's the real
pretty
question,
low on that scale too.
And then for perspective on my side of the issue, I'm wearing a computer on my wrist, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm clearly a bit of a gearhead, but it's one of those fascinating things. Reddit, for example, is doing a thing at the moment called Subreddit Simulator, and they use stuff called Markov blocks, which is like it takes chunks of texts and creates averages out of those. And it uses a Markov chain to create the average sentence for the subreddit of the day. So, for example, if a bunch of people are asking questions about cars, it'll come up with the average car question and ask that.
Oh.
And
that's weird.
It's sometimes really funny. For example, there's a subreddit called Aw, and people post cute pictures of cats and dogs and bunnies and all that sort of stuff. And the average sentence of the day was, "Look at my adorable new cat." And it was a picture of a pug.
Aww.
And that's just silly.
Aww.
And the subreddit simulator isn't alive, but it does weird, funny things because it's replicating human action. And that's the key point there. So I think in its current state, I wouldn't say any computer can it can create a painting, but it can make a painting.
It can make a painting,
Yeah.
but it can't create a painting.
Right.
But do you, now going back a little bit, do you think we will get to that point?
You know, part of me says yes, because you look at how far we're coming with current AIs. I mean,
True.
I wouldn't call Siri an AI. She's more of a personal assistant, but Microsoft's equivalent, Cortana, will like get snippy with you if you're rude to her. Like she'll react and assign a gender to it. Like it is occasionally you get that sense of it's more than just like call and response.
Now, just going along with that though, do you think we should get to that level? And
that's a different question of itself.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic. Like personally, I feel there's a thin line that we shouldn't cross.
The big fear people have is the machines getting more intelligent than us.
It's not
which
even
is possible.
Well, it's possible. It's not. But for me, it's like it's not even that. It's just I don't know. I don't want to say like we're getting too lazy as a society because that's a kind of a cop-out argument.
Right.
But I feel at a certain point we kind of lose our humanity if you become more technological dependent. You know what I mean? And I know all my friends are like probably like screaming at me right now because they all love technology and go to school for that kind of stuff. And I'm not knocking it. And I appreciate the different innovations that happen in the world. Yet at the same time, I feel we kind of lose aspects of nature and who we are as individuals. So
I mean, I love hiking, getting out there, exploring the world, and you know, your boots will never lose reception. You know, there's no need for an electrical socket in the middle of Washington redwoods. I mean, there's certainly that very human element of living in the woods, but at the same time, I don't know. There's just something very cool about the idea of having a sentient being in my phone that will help me.
I don't know.
That terrifies me, but I think this is in a good place. I think we have to take a break.
Yeah,
now.
we are.
But we ran 3 hours, 3 minutes.
We can run for 3 hours on this.
We can run for 3 hours, but I think we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with some music, and then on the other side, we're going to try and pick up this conversation at the bigger question of artificial intelligence. What does it mean? Where is it going? Basically where we were going here, but I just wanted to say it out loud so I remember it. You're listening to On the Horizon on 670 AM WPPJ, and we'll be right back with some music and such. Hey, this is Alex, and I'm joined by Kris and Sam for our show On the Horizon, where we bring you our thoughts on current events and news. Join us from 8 to 10 p.m. on Saturdays right here on WPPJ 670 AM.